welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast, where today I am honored, enamored to have with me Mr. Howard Jones. Howard is widely known throughout the world for huge 80s hits like New Song, Things Can Only Get Better, No One Is to Blame, and so many others. Howard has continued making great music for the past 40 years, with his most recent album, Dialogue, being released in September of last year. Howard will be touring as part of the Letting It Go show tour with Culture Club and Berlin throughout North America in July and August. And after that, he kicks off his 40th anniversary tour in the UK starting in October. Howard Jones, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Scott.
It's exciting to get this Letting It Go show happening.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think it's a really great lineup. I'm already very excited about it. It's going to be good fun.
Yeah. Now, have you interacted with those bands previously? You're from the same time period, when the big hits came. Have you gone out with Culture Club or Berlin?
No, I mean our paths have crossed at festivals and things over the years. I mean I know George quite well, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing him again. And Berlin, I'm a big fan of theirs, and I think Terry's amazing. And it is really a fantastic lineup for the fans to see. It's going to be a night of 80s joy, really, isn't it?
It really is. And I wanted to ask you about that too. Your latest record, Dialogue, a little bit different than what you were making in the 80s. We have more programming. It's a little more electronic. It's a little more experimental. And of course, your fans, they want the hits, they want the catalog, and they want the new stuff to sound like the hits and the catalog. So do you ever feel like restricted by that 80s musician title?
Well, I mean, it must be a dilemma for most artists, really, who've had, I mean, I was looking at a stat yesterday. Apparently I've had 9 top 40 hits on the Billboard charts. Yep. And so, if I play all of those, that's the set.
You don't get to play what you want.
So obviously the fans will love that. I mean, I want to play some new stuff as well. I'm going to play the new single that we've just got out now. It's called "Celebrate It Together," and we've had an amazing remix done by an amazing French artist called Lifelike, and it's doing really well on the streaming. So I'm going to shoehorn that in there somewhere, and then with Things Can Only Get Better, Cedric Gervais did this amazing remix of that. So we do the song in the traditional way that it sounds like on the record, and then we go into this like 4 on the floor dance version of it as well. Yeah, I'm trying. I like to find ways of getting the old and new mashed up in there, and but not sending people away disappointed.
Right.
Well, why didn't he play? No One Is to Blame?
I mean, it's a good problem to have, isn't it?
Well, yes. But I mean, I try and because we're the band is sort of, it's, my electronic roots, drum machines, sequencers, and computers. And then I have amazing players on the stage as well, Nick Beggs on bass and Robin Bolt on guitar. So it's like a mashup of the technology and also traditional rock and roll music skills, And so I've got the flexibility to change drum sounds and vamp things up a bit and add new keyboard parts. And I think the fans appreciate that. They don't want something unrecognizable from what they know, but they like the idea that it's got a new twist as well. So I'm always trying to do that, and seems to be working so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we want to see our heroes move forward, too, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And I think,
Yeah.
this record, especially Dialogue, is
Mm,
very
mm,
much a
mm,
step forward.
mm,
When you were writing the album and
mm,
had decided what direction you wanted to take it, did you ever,
yeah.
in the back of your mind, say, this is a risk?
Mm,
Am I willing to
mm.
take this? Was there ever a question for you?
No, I think the fans who've stuck with me now for 40 years,
Hmm.
they know that that I like to do experiment with different things and go in different directions sometimes, but actually Dialogue in a way is a return to the electronic roots of the first album,
Yeah.
and it's still songs, which is my trademark, and melody, and choruses and all that stuff. But it was I was writing it in the middle of the pandemic, so I
Right.
really I couldn't really, I was there in the studio on my own, so I was working with my synths, and I couldn't really collaborate too easily with people. I mean, I know you can swap files and stuff, but I like to work with people in the same room, really, if I'm
Yeah.
going to do that.
Yeah.
So it's very much was the pandemic album, really,
Yeah.
and very focused, and it's very much me in the studio just doing what I do.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you about that because your music has always been uplifting and positive. You're married to your wife Jan for more than 45
Mm,
years. Uh,
mm,
your Buddhism,
mm,
you
mm,
is profoundly a positive effect on your life. Your
mm,
music and
mm,
your way of life is such a bright, shining
mm,
light in the world. The last few
mm.
years have been some of the darkest times our world has seen.
Yeah, yeah,
Did you find it?
exactly.
Did you find it difficult to write and create in such a dark time?
Well, I think it's even more incentive, to as an artist to be making new work and making, giving what you've got to offer. And I always think it if we can make an impact on the big issues that are going on in the world by the way that we treat each other. So anyone who comes into our life, be it family, friends, or just a kind of chance meeting with people, if we really focus on totally respecting that person's life, and encouraging them to be the most brilliant person they can be, we can have an effect on the big picture. And I think that's really come from my Buddhist practice,
Hmm.
is that the all the little things add up.
Yeah.
And it's really, and it's all about our behavior. How do we treat each other? How do we respect each other? How do we look after our own selves as well? We don't leave ourselves out of that equation, and we care for ourselves as well. So care for ourselves and others, and this is how we end up influencing the big picture. And so for me with the music, it's like just getting those messages out in a way that without sort of preaching, but just saying, this is the what about this?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and that's what I've always tried to do. I always felt that was my role,
Yeah.
in the music scene.
Yeah,
Mm,
and we get that. We hear it,
mm,
and
mm,
we're lucky to have you for sure.
mm,
Um, now I've heard that Dialogue, Transform, and Engage were meant to
mm,
be a trilogy, but then I've also heard
mm.
that the intention is a tetralogy, which would mean we get one more. So,
Yeah,
what was
yeah,
your intention? Was there any intention with those three
yeah.
records?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. It was a series of four. I can't remember when it became four.
Okay.
Maybe it's because I thought of Engage as the sort of introductory album, and then the three that
Hmm.
come after that. But it was a way of me committing to doing four albums over I suppose it's going to be a bit more than a decade now.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like saying, I'm going to do that, and then once I've said I'm going to do it, then I've got to do it, because the fans will just, I have to be a man of my word.
You don't get a choice.
but but it was a way of me really committing to doing it, because it does become harder as your career progresses.
Right.
Obviously new work isn't going to get as much attention as the glory days.
Right.
So but you want to keep the standard up as high as you possibly can, and that takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. You could just sit back and just play all the hits for the rest of time, but I think I part of my philosophy has been that we should always be moving forward as individuals. We can't just be looking back to the past, and it's important to acknowledge the past and cherish the past, but to also be moving forward. So it was my way of committing myself to doing it. So I've got one more album to do. I think it'll probably be next year that I'll get that underway. Although I'm going to start writing lyrics now, I think, and do it. I don't normally do that. I always do the lyrics after the music, but I'm thinking of doing the lyrics first this time and having a different approach.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah. We might get a still a different Howard Jones, which would be great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, your website says that the 40th anniversary celebration will see tours of Europe, North America, Asia, and the UK, plus some exciting releases due later this year. What kind of releases will we see later this year? Can you tell us?
Yeah. Well, there's two projects we're working on at the moment. One is a book. It's called they're calling it a fanthology, because it's basically based on fans' experiences of going to shows, gigs, concerts, and how certain songs have affected them, or times when they've met me, or whatever,
Right.
and a kind of anecdotes of their time being a fan. And we have massive thousands of people contributing to it. So I'm very excited about it, because it is it's written by my wonderful fans, and
great.
And then we found all this sort of great memorabilia in the archives that we can put into the book as well. So it's a very exciting project, and I've waited quite a long time to do it. But so that's one thing. And then the other thing is that we're doing a comprehensive best of album.
Okay.
And I was still, I can't believe we're still talking about CDs, because really, but still people kind of want them. And so it's going to be, I've taken a different approach to this best of, because it's going to be 4 CDs, but with each CD has a theme, right? So there's going to be like the popular hits. There's going to be it's a chill album, which is all the sort of the more gentle ballad type stuff. There's the electronic banging stuff with remixes and everything, and then there's the 4th one is going to be like curiosities, so things that people may not have even heard of before, that they won't, that. So I've done it in themes, so that when you put a CD on, you don't get thrown around by, from like a dance remix to No Need to Blame, or something.
Right.
I think they stick to a mood. So I don't think anybody's ever done that before. I'm pretty. Maybe they have, but I haven't heard of it. So.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I look back at your career, and I think the whole we get everything out there and accessible, except for the holy grail for a Howard Jones fan is probably the Warrior record.
Oh yeah.
Squashed cats intestines. Right. We want to hear that,
Yeah, wow, yeah. Well, I can't believe you know about that. Yeah, I think we had. So I did that while I was at high school, and we had 100 100 copies made,
Yeah,
pressed,
yeah. Do
and
you have one?
it was white. It was white covers, and so we didn't have any artwork on it.
Right, right.
So yeah,
Do you have one of those?
I do. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
do
so
have one.
special.
Yeah,
It really is.
yeah,
Yeah, that would be
yeah,
that would be great for fans. Just putting that bug in your ear. Get a little recording
yeah,
of that. Even a bad recording would
yeah,
be.
yeah,
We'd all love to hear that for sure. That's so
yeah,
exciting.
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah, yes.
it's really really cool that you have one too. Not everybody does when they put out something that early in their career. To
Yeah,
keep that and maintain it, it's great. Um,
yeah.
I see your performances and I think about your live
Mm,
performances and I think immediately it goes to Hide and Seek at Live Aid.
mm,
It had a
mm,
profound effect when I watched it
mm, mm,
because it's you and the piano. Um,
mm,
everybody has a lot of
mm,
people had bands and things. You came
mm,
out and
mm,
just had people,
mm,
jaws dropping, 72,000 people in
mm,
front of you at such a
mm,
profound, special event. What was that
mm,
experience like for you? Was it complete madness and, a little bit of a miserable experience, or was
mm,
it an elation
mm.
like it seems?
Yeah, it's sort of the reason I was on tour in America on the West Coast with my full band. It was around the Dream into Action time, so 12-piece band. I couldn't bring the whole band back to England. It was just out of the question to do that. But
Right,
I wanted to play in London because that's where I'm from the UK.
right.
And so I brought my wonderful backing singers with me. They were called Aphrodisiac,
Mm-hmm.
and we were going to do another song that day. But so I was a bit, I mean, I didn't know what people were gonna think because they knew me as an electronic musician. They hadn't got a chance to know me very well yet.
Right.
But obviously, um, so people thought, oh, good God, he's going to go out there and play the piano. Does he know how to play the piano? Doesn't he just know how to flick switches and turn knobs? But obviously, I've been playing the piano since I was 7, so that was my most comfortable place.
Little
Um,
did they
and
know.
I thought, yeah, and I thought I wanted to write a song, to sing a song about hope, and
Yeah.
Hide and Seek was the choice. So I didn't choose one of the big hits that had been happening for me at the time. I thought that's the most important song to play for this occasion, and so it was great. I was incredibly nervous. I mean, I expect a lot of people were that day. It was the biggest audience that
Yeah.
anybody will ever play to. I think because it was 2 billion people watching.
Right.
Round the globe, and so I started off a bit fast, like, playing the song, and then I got to the chorus, and then the whole of Wembley joined in with me, singing with me, and
Yeah.
it was like a total euphoric moment. I mean, I'll always remember it. It was like, wow, everyone's like with me on this. They're all right behind me, and they're really behind what this day is about.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a fabulous experience to have, and I'll always be grateful that I got the chance to do that.
Yeah, and
Amazing.
what a great song choice, and
Mm,
what a fabulous moment. Like I say, it had tremendous impact
mm,
on me watching it.
mm,
The crowd starts singing
mm.
along, you get chills. I just
Yeah, yeah,
unimaginable. Just a
and me.
beautiful, beautiful moment. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
Now there are so many of your songs that live with all of
Mm.
us, live with me, especially every day. But being a photographer, I'm a photographer as well. I think
Right.
The Prisoner really
Yeah.
speaks to me on another level,
Mm,
especially after
mm,
hearing your explanation of that song and the your intention with it. Is there a song that you've written that you feel transcends the others for you and you hold a little closer to your heart? I think Elegy for me too is so tremendously deep and something that seems extremely personal. Is there one that you really hold close to your heart and has a special meaning for you?
Um, well, really, because I'm a lyric guy. Really, that's my main.
Right.
The most important thing to me is the lyrics. Although the music comes flows quite naturally, but lyrics I struggle with and I fret over, and I so all those songs are some part of me.
Right.
And sometimes I'm writing about experiences that I haven't had myself, but I know people who've been through them.
Right.
So it's just impossible for me to sort of pick one out, really.
Okay.
I think, although if I was going to say, the most personal album would be the People album. I don't know if you know that one,
Yeah.
but that was a particular frame of mind that I was in. That I wanted to be singing, songs about very personal relationships. A lot of my songs are about, full-on philosophical ideas, right?
Right.
But that album, People, is about, it's about really tender feelings between people, things I've experienced and I've seen other people experience. So I would probably draw attention to that album.
Okay.
That's probably one of my absolute favourites that I've done.
Ah, that's very special.
Yeah,
Very special.
yeah,
I think about your career and what you've accomplished and all of these things, these great records that are the fabric of our lives, woven into us. Um, and you talk about the book from the fan point of view and how that affects them coming out. Have you ever thought
yeah,
about
yeah.
writing an autobiography and telling your life experiences?
Um, yeah. I think I would definitely like to do that. It's definitely on my radar to do that.
Great.
And I probably yes. I've been talking. So yeah, it will happen. I just don't think I'm ready to tell the whole story yet.
Yeah.
It's not. It's still in progress. So.
Right. I was gonna say that story is a work in
Yeah,
progress. We're far from the
yeah.
end, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So yeah, I'm feeling, it's almost like I'm still full on doing this. So when I have when it sort of relaxes a bit and calms down a bit, then I can have some clarity to apply to the biography. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. Is there anything that you've always wanted to do in your life that you haven't had a chance to do yet?
Um. Well, no, actually, no. I've there's a couple of places I'd like to play
Okay.
that are on the list, but I've been fortunate to play most of the really cool venues in the world.
Yeah.
I'd like to play. I'd like to play at Sydney Opera House. I've never played there. I love the architecture and the building so much. I've been to the building,
Right.
but never got the chance to play there. I'd like to play there.
Awesome.
And I'd like to play the Hollywood Bowl as well, which I've never played.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I think that will happen
Yeah.
at some point soon. But yeah. So, but really, everything else, I'm just so happy with the life I've been fortunate to have, and all the great. It's been I don't have a bucket list
Yeah, yeah,
anymore.
and that's a good thing. It really is. You think about that.
Yeah, yeah.
You've lived a full life, and and we're so, like I say, we're so lucky to have you, to have a bright light like yourself in the world. We need that, and we appreciate you, sir.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It's Scott.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And we will see you on the road. North
Yeah,
America in July and August as part of the Letting It Go show with Culture Club in Berlin,
yeah,
and then on to the
yeah.
40th anniversary tour. You will be hitting North America on the anniversary tour, correct?
Well, no, probably not with
Okay.
that tour. But we'll probably be back next summer.
Okay.
Playing. Yeah, I would have thought. Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, I'm not planning that far ahead, but
Right,
yeah.
right.
I love playing for people, so I'll always be doing that as long as I can. Yeah.
That is great to hear. I gotta
Mm.
tell you, yeah, I look so forward to seeing you out on the road and safe travels to you. And again, so honored to have you. Thank you so much for your time, Howard.
Okay. Thank you, Scott.
All right,
Great talking with you.
you too. Take care,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. All the best.
All
All the
right,
best now.
you
Right.
too.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.